Hello and welcome to Dragnet Live from OTRGold.com. I'm your host, Austin Bach. Happy Friday. Thank you for being here. Um, it is for the weather report today, 11 or 9 a.m. I saw Joshua's thing. I thought 11 a.m. It's 9 a.m. Pacific in Seattle, and it is sunny outside. If you're new here, we do this because they do it every episode of Dragnet, and Joshua has started this pattern. I think it's funny, so we will do it. Um, This is Joshua's report from Alabama. Thank you, Joshua, for being here. If this is your first stream and you want to participate in the chat, oh, hang on, let me pin the chat to the side. It's supposed to be visible. There we go. Um, if you want to participate in the chat on the side, please go to OTR Gold. You got to go there and stream it. We're streaming to a few different locations right now, but if you want to participate in the chat, go there. The link should be in the description. Um, Joshua says chat seems empty today. Yeah, it might be starting a little bit slow. I did start this a minute early, so we'll see if it picks up. But also maybe people got out of town for an early weekend or something. But regardless, we will march on and listen to today's episode. We're going to be listening to episode 32 of Dragnet. The title is Max Tyler Escaped Convict. Want to welcome everybody to the 1950s. This is the first episode of Dragnet broadcast in the 1950s, as originally broadcast Thursday, January 5th. And since we last, uh, there haven't been too many historical events that I could find during that week, but I did notice that I missed one last week. On December 25th, 1949, so the week before the previous episode aired, Cary Grant wed the actress Betsy Drake. So I thought Cary Grant, people know who he is. I should at least alert you that I skipped over that one last week by accident. But aside from that, nothing of note happened the week before this episode was broadcast in the 1950s. Oh, we have a few more people. Here we go. Thanks for saying hi. Alex from St. Louis. Thanks for being here. So over it from Harrisburg. Thank you again. Oh yeah, forget two of our active commenters are out. One I think is moving. The other one is I forget what at a train show or something. Um, but they will be missed. We'll hope to catch them on Monday. Okay, let's think here. We are close to 2,000 subscribers. We're gonna give away another. Um, we're gonna give away another Bluetooth radio at that time. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Once we pass that threshold on the very next live stream, I'll give like a code word or something to put in the comments to be entered in to win. They're small little vintage radios. I normally show them here on camera, but I send you the ones that I have myself. So I'm out of them currently, and I'm waiting for a few more to arrive. But if you look at the community tab on the channel, you can see photos of them. They're fun little things. Um, and I think that's it. I'm kind of working on some stuff behind the scenes. I think next Friday or sometime next weekend, I want to have a separate live stream that isn't a Dragnet thing, but more of just like a game night or a trivia night. Or I'm also thinking of something called like I had posted a question about which radio episodes were adapted from or adapted to film. And I want to do what I'm calling like a double feature where we listen to an episode uh, of the radio show and then watch the accompanying TV episode just to see what the differences are and how things were changed. So I think I might do that next week. I'll post. It'll be in the evening, um, but yeah. So look out for another live stream. I need to check with my wife for what night works best, but we'll do a we'll call it an OTR Gold double feature. And I haven't done it yet, like, partially because I wanna see if like, how true to the radio show were they, or in the case of film, how true to the film are they? Because I know some of these things, they adapt a 2-hour-long movie to 30 minutes, but some of these, like Dragnet and Gunsmoke, started as a radio show and then became TV shows. So um, let's see what happens. Uh Joshua asks, "Is the missus a fan of old time radio?" She is becoming a fan of old time radio. I think she never listened to it like I did growing up. I had these cassette tapes. Um, Let me actually show you. Let me see if I can find it. I downloaded a picture. Hang on. I'm doing something on the side that I hope to be able to tell you about in the near future, but I have no news to share right now. But as part of that, I was looking for um I was looking for these cassette programs that I had. So let me show you. This is a photo. I had this program going. It was a set of 20 audio cassettes, and they had a couple Shadow episodes, some Dragnet episodes, and a bunch. And I would listen to this all the time on cassette. You can find the set on eBay, but I listened to this one because we had that one growing up, and then there's one more I'll show you that I had. And if anybody else had this set, let me know. Because I think they sold it at Costco back in the day, which, if you're an avid Costco shopper, I grew up in the Seattle area, which is where they started. So Costco's been around, you know, for a while. But anyway, this was the other one that I had, The Greatest Mysteries. And this one has a bunch of great series like Quiet Please, Lights Out. This one has probably one of the scariest episodes of suspense that I remember listening to. Um, it was The House in Cypress Canyon, I think is in this one, as well as, I think it's called, like, Fugue in E minor or something. It is a creepy, creepy episode, but those cassette sets are kinda what started my own, it's where I developed an appreciation of old time radio. I got hooked on these stories, but then also when I was older, I didn't have a cassette player anymore. Like my parents had one, but I had moved out of my parents' house at that time, and I didn't have one. I had a CD player, but nothing else. So I went looking for like the day that I remembered old time radio and thought, oh, I'd love to listen to those episodes again and see if they're as scary as I remember them being. Well, I didn't have a cassette player. I didn't have the the sets anymore. So I went looking for digital files. I went first to YouTube, found that while the content was there, it wasn't really presented in a great format. It wasn't easy to find just all the suspense episodes and listen to them. So that's when I started finding where the files were available for free online, creating the video to go with it because YouTube required that you have video. You couldn't just upload audio, or I would have done that. Um, but then I started putting it into playlists in chronological order so that then I could not just listen to my favorites, but start at the beginning of a series and just binge the whole thing. So, um, yeah, those, that's where my love of old time radio started. Sorry, that's a bit of a tangent, but hopefully you found that interesting. Um, I just watched your behind the mic episode on Cypress Canyon recently. Yeah, that's why I picked that one earlier on because I knew it was great, or at least in my opinion, it was great and crazy. Yeah, weird twist at the end. If you haven't heard it, go check it out. The behind the mic series was an attempt at some original content that I wanted to share. What I was learning about these particular episodes. I would like to revive that in the future, but I have lots of ideas for this channel. Like I said, some listener choice streams and things. So stick around. Please help us continue to reach a new audience, and we'll do some fun stuff. All right, but back to Dragnet. So we're going to be listening again to episode 32. It was originally broadcast January 5th, 1950, and the title is Max Tyler Escaped Convict. I'll share my screen out. We'll get started. And enjoy. Hello and welcome to Dragnet from otrgold.com. This episode will begin after a brief message from our sponsors.
Ladies and gentlemen, for a more authentic presentation, portions of the program you are about to hear were actually recorded on the scene.
Sorry about that. Hang on. I was doing the Roseland Roof murders. My mistake. 1 second. Okay. We're back.
OTRGold.com. This episode will begin after a brief message from our sponsors.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent. Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. 2 armed bandits have robbed a large jewelry store in your city. One of the suspects escapes. One is apprehended. He's identified as a friend of yours. Your job, send him to prison.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima is doubling and redoubling its smokers. So, if you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, February 8th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way over from the city hall, and it was 8:35 p.m. when I got to the second floor of the Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. Treatment room.
Joe, hi.
Hi, Doc. Ben, how's it going?
Okay. It hurt for a while. Doc gave me an injection.
1/6 of a grain of morphine, Novocaine injection.
Bullet still in your shoulder?
Doc's about ready to take it out.
As soon as I get the wound cleaned, here's the soap and water, nurse. Alcohol sponge, please.
How's it look, Doctor?
Now, there's the x-ray. Shallow penetrating wound in the deltoid area. Sludge, larger than the soft tissue right here.
Oh, yeah.
No bone involvement. Okay, the bullet was spent.
That's good. Feel okay?
Sure.
Nurse, methylate applicators, please. Thanks. Let's see now.
Where'd you leave Tyler, Joe?
Interrogation room. Reynolds and Thompson are with him.
Let me have the probe, nurse. Yeah. Feel anything, Romero?
No.
That's it. You hear that?
Hear what?
Located the slug with a probe.
Oh.
Nurse, forceps. Thanks. Here we go. Oh, steady.
You call your wife?
No, she don't worry.
Here it is, boys. Want to mark it for evidence?
Yeah, give it to me, will you? I will.
Nurse, sterile saline solution. Irrigate the wound.
No sign of Tyler's partner, huh, Joe? Guy got me?
No, not yet, no.
Sterile dressings, please.
How long did you know this Tyler? Before he went wrong, I mean.
I met him in the Army, helped him line up a job when he got out. It's too bad.
Sure is funny. Meeting a friend of yours pulled an armed robbery. Must have surprised you, huh?
Yeah, kind of. You want me to drive you home when the doc's finished here?
Let's go back to the office and talk to Tyler first.
Okay. Is that all right, Doc?
No. You're staying right here, Romero, till tomorrow morning. If you haven't got a temperature by then, I might release you.
Oh, it's only a flesh wound, Doc. I feel all right.
I'm not taking any chances with gunshot wounds. If infection set in and you were laid up, I'd have the pension committee to answer to. You're staying here.
Sounds like an order.
It is. You can pick them up in the P&F ward tomorrow morning.
Okay. You gonna need anything, Ben?
Yeah. I phoned to tell my wife I won't be home for dinner.
His name was Max Tyler, white, male American, age 32. Dark hair, brown eyes, medium build, married, father of twin boys. He was a friend of mine. We served together in the Army overseas, and when the war finished, I came back to my job on the force, and Max went back to his old job. It didn't fit him anymore. He stopped working and started drinking. His wife didn't help much. Max started with small trouble, but it grew fast. On the afternoon of February the 8th, Tuesday, Ben and I surprised two men holding up a Main Street jewelry shop. Shots were exchanged, and Ben received a flesh wound in the shoulder. One of the hold-up men escaped. The other one was apprehended. His name was Max Tyler. Hi, Larry.
Hi, Joe. Glad you got here. Tyler says he won't talk to anybody but you.
Okay, boy. Thanks for standing by.
Sure. I'll be outside. You need anything?
Max,
Joe?
you're in deep this time. You shot a cop.
I didn't. This guy was with me. I didn't fire once.
You were in on the job.
Yeah.
Then don't expect presents.
I don't expect anything, Joe. Glad you came back. I don't want to talk to those other cops.
I work in the same department they do, same job.
Well, it's easier to talk to you.
What's your story?
I was crazy to try it. No alibis, Joe, but I didn't know what I was doing, believe me. I just didn't realize.
I won't buy it, Max. You told me the same thing 14 months ago when they picked you up for those bum checks you were passing.
Sure, I hung some paper, but I'm no hood, Joe. You know that. I was drinking. I needed dough for Dorothy and the kids. You gotta believe me. I need a break.
You said that before, too. I went to bat for you, got off with 6 months and 3 years probation. Now you turn up with another caper.
I know, Joe, I know. I'm sorry.
You're sorry once, Max, and it works, but one free ride's enough for anybody. Now, that's it.
Did I say I wanted that kind of a break? I'll serve my time, Joe. I'll serve every day I owe.
And then what can you tell me you couldn't have told the other cops?
I want to ask you a favor.
Yeah?
I know you're going to hook me on this. So while I'm doing my time, Dorothy and the kids are staying with relatives out in Inglewood. If you're... Well, just keep an eye on them, you know, Joe. I don't mean dough. Dorothy can work with... Kind of watch out for them, huh? Give them a break, Joe. It's not their fault. Will you do it, Joe?
Yeah. Sure, I'll take care of it. Now, you do something for me.
Anything you want, guy.
Let's have the straight story. Who was the guy with you on that hold-up this afternoon?
Cresta, George Cresta, you know him.
Out of Folsom, short guy, black hair?
Yeah, he's got a room above the Red Owl Bar down on East 3rd near Broadway. That's where he hangs out.
Where can we find Cresta now?
Oh, maybe there, I don't know. I'll give you a list of the places he goes. Some of his friends I've met. He sure roped me in. Said there wasn't going to be any rough stuff.
You were carrying an S&W 38.
Sure. When they got outside the jewelry shop, Cresta jammed the gun in my hand. I had to put it away, get it out of sight. Believe me, Joe, he roped me into this. It sounds like an alibi, I know,
This
but
is your second time around, Max. It sounds like one.
Okay, I got nothing coming. Don't forget about Dorothy and the kids. Huh?
I promised you. Now, you want to give me a full statement on the hold-up now?
Anything you say, Joe.
I'll call for a stenographer.
Joe,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I am.
I believe you. You got the feeling too late, that's all. Max Tyler was arraigned in municipal court 2 days later. Bail was set at $10,000. 3 days after that came his preliminary hearing in municipal court. At his arraignment in Superior Court, 5 weeks after he'd been apprehended, Tyler entered a plea of not guilty. A date was set for his trial in Superior Court. Meantime, the hunt for George Cresta, Max's accomplice, went on. There wasn't a sign of him. Our informants had no lead on him, and the all-points bulletin containing all the information we had on Cresta brought in nothing. On Monday, March 22nd, the trial of Max Tyler was held in Superior Court. Ben and I were subpoenaed to appear. The victim of the holdup, the jewelry store manager, was the first to testify. He was questioned by both the prosecutor and the counsel for the defense. He left the stand at 11:25 a.m.
If it please, Your Honor,
Counsel for the defense.
before the next witness testifies, I'd like permission to approach the bench.
Permission granted. Counsel for the prosecution may also approach.
Wonder what that's all about, Joe.
Something's up.
Hello. Judge is shaking his head. Public defender's going back to the counsel's table.
Counsel for the defense.
Your Honor, it is my client's desire to change his plea to guilty.
Defendant rise and face the court. Max Tyler, is that your true name?
Yes, Your Honor.
On the 12th day of March of this year, in Superior Court, Department 83, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California, you've heretofore been arraigned on the charge of robbery in the first degree. At that time, you pled not guilty to the charge in question. Is it now your desire to change that plea?
Yes, sir, it is.
You've reached this decision of your own free will.
Yes, I have.
There's been no force employed, no promise of gratuity or reward to induce you to reach this decision?
No, sir.
Counsel for the prosecution.
Yes, Your Honor. Max Tyler, on the 12th day of March of this year in Superior Court, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California, you are arraigned on the charge of robbery in the first degree. That time you entered a plea as set forth in this information. How do you now plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Is it stipulated that at the time of the commission of the robbery, the defendant was armed with a deadly weapon, to wit, a revolver? So stipulated.
Court will fix the degree of robbery as robbery is first degree.
Your Honor, in the interest of justice, the people move to dismiss count 2, assault with a deadly weapon.
At this time, Your Honor, the defendant waives time for sentencing and asks that he be sentenced immediately.
Just a moment. Max Tyler, it's the judgment of this court that on the 8th day of February of this year, you did enter the premises at 23108 East Main Street in the city, and there did attempt the felonious taking of personal property in the possession of another from his person and immediate presence and against his will. Further, said attempt was made while you were armed with a dangerous and deadly weapon. Max Tyler, this court finds you guilty of robbery in the first degree. Count 2 is dismissed.
Does it, Joe?
Decision of this court that you be returned to the county jail. The sheriff will transfer you to the state penitentiary where you will serve the sentence as prescribed by law. Court recess for 15 minutes.
Hey, Joe. Miss Tyler over there, she's taking it pretty hard.
Yeah, come on, we better go see her. Hello, Dorothy.
I love him, Joe. What am I going to do without him? Children.
I'll give it to you straight, Dorothy. You didn't do much to keep Max out of this. You drank right along with him. You don't
Joe.
deserve those kids. That's my opinion.
Please, I know it. Don't make it any harder. Don't.
I'll do anything I can for the kids, Dorothy. That's all.
What am I going to do without him? I can't be all alone without Max. It's not right. It's not right.
Neither's armed robbery. Goodbye, Dorothy. Before the end of March, Max Tyler was delivered to San Quentin State Penitentiary, where he started serving his term. His wife, Dorothy Tyler, got a job as a telephone operator. She and her children continued living with their relatives down in Inglewood. I helped them out whenever I could. 6 months went by. Every 2 weeks, faithfully, Tyler wrote me a letter from prison. I answered most of them. While Ben and I worked on other jobs, the search for George Cresta went on. We failed to uncover a single lead. 10 months passed. Tuesday, January 16th, 1949, 4 p.m. I checked in for work as usual.
Hi, Joe. Cold out, huh?
Yeah. Did you pick up the mail?
Mm-hmm. There's a letter in your box from San Quentin.
Tyler, huh?
How's he doing anyway?
Good. Clean record. Got himself a pretty fair job in the prison library.
Yeah.
I talked to the warden up there. Says Tyler ought to be eligible for parole in about a year if he keeps his nose clean.
You going to bat for Tyler again?
I don't know. See what happens.
How can you see anything in that guy? He's giving you nothing but trouble.
Oh, a lot of people are giving him the same. Maybe that explains it.
Not for me, it doesn't. I wouldn't trust him with dirty laundry.
I get it. Robbery Friday.
Oh, Joe, this is Dorothy Tyler. I got to talk to you.
Yeah, Dorothy, what's the matter?
I found Krista. I saw him.
What?
George Cresta. I know where he is. I saw him downtown. I followed him to his place.
You sure it was him?
I'm positive. He's staying at 134 Jesse Street. It's a rooming house just off Alameda. 134 Jesse.
Got it. Thanks, Dorothy. Come on, Ben. 8 minutes later, Ben and I were interviewing the landlord at 134 Jesse Street, a cheap rooming house down on the south end of the city. The landlord's name was Peterson. We showed him Cresta's mug shot, and he told us he was in room 11. We went up a dark, narrow stairway to the second floor.
And here we are, number 11.
All right, stand clear. I'll try the door.
Mm-hmm.
It's open.
Yeah. Joe, have a look. He's asleep.
He's passed out. Come on, slip the cuffs on him.
That was easy.
Yeah. All right, I got his gun.
He's been drinking, all right. He'll have a big hangover.
He'll have a long time to get over it. George Cresta was booked at county jail on suspicion of robbery. 2 months and 3 weeks later in Superior Court, he was tried and convicted of assault with a deadly weapon and first-degree robbery and sentenced to the state penitentiary. The day after Cresta was sentenced, I was called to the office of Chief of Detectives Thad Brown.
Friday, this Max Tyler is coming up for parole in a couple of months. He's a friend of yours, isn't he?
That's right, in a way.
You've been writing letters to the warden. You've talked to the parole board about him. Understand you're helping out his kids.
A few presents. They haven't had much of a break. They're just youngsters.
You're working hard to get Tyler's parole. You think he's worth it?
Well, I was off both him and his wife, and then she gave us that tip about Cresta, and Tyler's got such a good record up at Q, I figured they'd earned another chance.
You're sticking your chin out, Joe, helping a con to get a parole. I think you'll realize that.
Well, I believe he's a good risk now, Chief. He's pretty weak in some things. He needs direction, that's all. His wife's getting better. She might help more than she did.
I hope both of them are worth it.
If anything happens, I know I'm going to get it from all sides.
You really think some men deserve another chance, don't you?
Yes, sir, I do.
I wouldn't want you working for me if you didn't.
2 more weeks went by. Tuesday, April the 19th. Ben came down with a bad cold and had to lay off work. At the same time, a new gang started a hold-up campaign among the liquor stores out in the Wilshire district. A new rash of armed robberies broke out in the central area. There was an attempted bank robbery. It was a bad week. Ben got back to work on Saturday.
Rough time, huh, Joe?
Busy, yeah. Did you beat that cold all right?
Sure, I feel much better. Doctor gave me some new medicine. Works good.
That's fine. Maybe I'll knock off early tonight if nothing's doing.
That's a good idea. Shouldn't be too much tonight.
Teletype for you. Just came in.
Oh, thanks, Larry.
Sure. What's the matter, Joe? What is it?
Max Tyler. He broke out of prison this morning.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. And now, here's an authentic report from Fatima Cigarettes.
In 1949, Fatima doubled, tripled, and quadrupled its smokers. In 1950, enjoy Fatima yourself.
You'll find Fatima extra mild.
Because Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobacco superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild.
You'll find Fatima tastes much better.
Fatima's superb blend gives you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
You'll find Fatima tops in cigarette quality.
Fatima has always stood for the best in cigarette quality. For a new year of great smoking enjoyment, buy Fatima in the appealing golden yellow package. You'll agree, Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
In the course of his career, the police officer is afforded 2 diverse views of the criminal. At first, the rookie cop is taught to distrust the criminal at every turn, without exception. He's schooled in the 1,001 ways in which the criminal operates, his psychology, his mode of operation. Then, when he's thoroughly acquainted with the methods of the criminal and how best to detect them, the police officer starts to learn the most difficult lesson of all: how to distinguish between the confirmed criminal and the lawbreaker, in whom there is hope of rehabilitation. After 9.5 years of police work, my first experiment in this field was with Max Tyler. I'd given him 2 chances to prove himself, and he'd lost on both of them. So did I. 2 months before his parole hearing, which might have given him his freedom, Max Tyler had suddenly decided to escape. How he figured it, I didn't know, but it was my job to find him. At 5 o'clock that afternoon, Ben and I met in the chief of detective's office. 2 officers, Holland and Grayson, from the State Adult Authority Escape Detail, were there.
How did Tyler manage his escape, Grayson?
Same old story. They figured they could trust him up there. He had a good job on the prison farm. They trusted him.
When did they find out he was gone?
On the early morning count. Have you checked his relatives out in Inglewood yet?
Yeah, we have. We've got the home staked out. We're covering all the places we figure he might go.
How about Mrs. Tyler? You get in touch with her Friday?
The relatives told us that she's on a weekend vacation with the 2 kids, staying with friends down at Laguna Beach.
We got a call in to them. Should be hearing from them soon.
I understand Tyler's a friend of yours, Friday. He was ready for parole.
Yeah, I was trying to help him along. I thought the guy deserved a break.
He didn't need you, Joe. He made his own.
No use feeling bad. You weren't the only one fooled, Friday. You had the prison officials buffaloed, too.
Yeah, I know. I helped convince them. You got any leads on Tyler at all, Grayson? I mean, from the time he broke prison?
Pretty strange. They traced him as far as Stockton, and then they lost the trail completely.
The Stockton police in on the search?
Yeah, sure funny. The guy has no money, no car we know of, no change of clothes.
You figure he's getting help from somebody?
Could be.
Excuse me a minute. Brown speaking. Just a moment. You, Friday.
Oh, thank you. Friday? Yeah. When? Where? Just a minute. Will you hold on, please? It's the Tyler's friends down at Laguna Beach.
Mrs. Tyler there?
No, she called him last night about 7 o'clock, told him she'd changed her plans. She wasn't coming.
She told them where she was going?
She wanted to know which highway would take her to Stockton. We told the Tyler's friends in Laguna Beach to contact us immediately if they heard from either Mr. or Mrs. Tyler. We got out an APB on Dorothy Tyler, and then we drove out to interview her relatives in Inglewood. They told us that Mrs. Tyler had the 2 children with her. She had left their house at 6 p.m. the night before by taxi. As far as they knew, she didn't own a car. We talked with some of her friends in the neighborhood. The only thing they could tell us was that she had not borrowed a car from any of them. We drove down to the telephone exchange where she was employed as an operator, and we spoke with a manager, a Mr. Ralph Cartwright.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. This is Mrs. Tyler's night off. Is there something I can help you with?
When is Miss Tyler due back at work, Mr. Cartwright?
Well, she's working the 10 to 7 starting tomorrow, doing at 10 a.m.
We understand that she's on a weekend vacation, huh?
Yes, you see, today was payday, so she asked me if she could have her check ahead of time. Said she had to have the money for the weekend.
Did you give her the check?
Oh, my, no, I couldn't give her the check ahead of time. But I did do her a favor, just to help her over the weekend.
What was that?
I loaned her my car.
We got a complete description of the car together with a license number and called the office. The information was broadcast to all units throughout the city and teletyped to all points in the state. Chief of Detectives Thad Brown ordered an immediate stakeout on the telephone exchange where Mrs. Tyler was employed. The stakeout at the home of Inglewood continued. Another day passed. We checked with the bank where Mrs. Tyler maintained her account. It was 10:25 a.m. when we got back to robbery detail.
Gentlemen, what'd you find out?
Miss Tyler closed her account 3 days ago, withdrew all her savings, $46.55.
And they're not going to go far on that.
Any word about that car she borrowed?
Teletype came in about an hour ago. They found it just outside Santa Barbara, abandoned.
Anyone see the Tylers?
No reports.
I wonder how those poor kids are making out.
Yeah, he must be crazy, and his wife, too. If she was going to help him pull an escape, why'd she have to drag the kids along?
That's the way some parents figure, Friday. They owe their children nothing. The children owe them everything.
Call for you, Friday. Take it on 2.
Oh, thanks, Larry. Friday.
This is Hopkins, Friday, on stakeout, the phone exchange.
Yeah, Bert.
Tyler woman came for a check. We got her.
Dorothy Tyler was brought into the city hall. With her was one of her children. He was delivered to the juvenile authorities for the time being. Mrs. Tyler was brought to the interrogation room. She refused to admit anything to the officers from the adult authority. She said she wanted to talk to me. I went in. She threw her arms around me and started crying.
Joe, you won't let him get Max, will you? You won't let him.
I'm after him as much as they are, maybe more. Where is he?
I can't tell you.
Why'd you do it, Dorothy? Why?
Oh, you know why, Joe. You know why. I had to see him. I had to be with Max.
It's a bum deal. You traded days for years.
But they can't get him. If I don't tell them where he is, they won't find him.
They'll find him. He's got to eat, so do you and the kids. He has to go to work, and working with a gun is all he knows. He'll leave a trail. We'll find him.
Children? What have they done to the children? Where's Jimmy?
They're taking care of him. That's more than you did. Where's your other boy, Vance?
Max. Max has him.
Oh, that's fine. You and Max ought to be real proud of yourselves.
I had to see him. You know that. I had to see Max.
Has he got a gun? Has he? Has he used it?
No. He just thought he might need it. He hasn't hurt anyone. I swear it.
You helped him escape, is that right? You helped him.
He needed help. I met him at San Rafael. We drove all night. He didn't hurt anyone, Joe. He hasn't hurt anyone.
Where is he now? Where is he? All right, Dorothy, we'll find him.
Joe, if I tell you, will you go alone? I can show you the way. Will you go alone?
Yeah.
All right. I'll take you to him, Joe. I trust you.
Yeah, I trusted him once, too. 5 p.m. Monday, April 25th. Dorothy, Tyler, Ben, and I got in the car and headed north for the coast town of Santa Maria. Acting under orders of Chief of Detectives Thad Brown, Larry Thompson from Robbery Detail followed in another car. Holland and Grayson from the State Adult Authority were with him. It was 10 minutes past 8 when we drove through the town of Santa Maria. Just outside the city, Dorothy Tyler directed us to turn off onto a dirt road. We drove about 2 miles. She told us to pull up.
across that field. Shack by those trees.
Lonely out here.
I'll go with you, Joe. Maybe Max won't understand.
Oh, you stay here.
Joe, that car stopped here.
It's cops, Dorothy. It had to be. They won't shoot unless Max does.
But you promised. You said you'd go alone.
I'll go alone.
Friday?
Hello, Grayson.
Where is he? She tell you?
That shack over there across the field by that clump of trees.
He's got one of the kids with him, that right?
Yeah, he won't be any trouble.
He's armed. The cons up at Quentin say he won't be taken alive. They say he'll shoot it out.
They talk a lot.
You better let us take him. You're not getting paid for this one.
I'll take him alone. I made a promise.
That guy in the shack's in the habit of breaking promises.
I keep mine. Keep an eye on Miss Tyler, will you, Ben?
Thompson's watching her. I'm coming with you.
I told her I'd go alone.
There's 2 doors, front and back. Which one you going in?
Front.
I'll be around back. Careful, Joe.
Yeah. I'll be right back, Grayson. I started to cross the field. The shack was about 100 yards from the road. The field was uncultivated, and I wasn't sure of my footing. I stumbled over a tree stump. Halfway across the field, the lights in the shack went out.
Who's that? Who is it?
It's me, Max. Joe Friday. Max? Come on, open up. All right, Max.
Why the gun, Joe? I never thought you'd take me with a gun.
I never thought I'd have to kick down a door to get you. You've changed a lot, Max.
How'd you find me, Dorothy tell you? Where is she?
Outside. Your boy over there, Vance.
He's sleeping. He's okay.
Put out your hands. Put out your hands.
Oh. I'm sorry, Joe.
Yeah.
You've been good to us. I won't try to explain.
Neither will I, Max. Come on.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, City and County of Marin, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here are the actual figures. New York Division.
Fatima sales up 132%.
Los Angeles Division.
Fatima sales up 545%.
St. Louis Division.
Fatima sales up 548%.
Yes, in 1949, more and more smokers discovered that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
They found Fatima extra mild.
They found Fatima has a much different, much better flavor.
They found the name Fatima means the best in cigarette quality.
In 1950, enjoy Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
Max Tyler pleaded guilty to the charge of escape and was sentenced to the term as prescribed by law. He was returned to San Quentin and then transferred to Folsom Penitentiary, where he is now serving his sentence. You have just heard Dragnet, a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Acting Chief of Police, W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Dragnet honors the state of California and the men of the California Highway Patrol, another of America's outstanding law enforcement agencies. One of these men, Highway Patrol Commissioner Clifford E. Peterson, outstanding administrator and educator in the field of law enforcement, dedicates his life to making yours more secure.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Be sure to hear Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman in the Halls of Ivy starting tomorrow on NBC.
That was an interesting one. A little sad too, just to hear that family throw away their second or third chance. I guess at that point it'd be their third chance. Throw it away because they couldn't wait a couple more days. Um, so over it said commented no charges for Dorothy. Yeah, that's I don't know the specifics of this case. They obviously didn't mention it, but that's one of the downsides of when you have co-conspirators in a crime, but the state or the prosecution needs one of them to testify against the other, and I'm not sure that's happening here. Oftentimes, the person testifying gets like a deal or a plea or something. So it's as we talked about last time. I'm grateful for the legal system that we have. That the bar is so high because you don't want to falsely imprison someone, but there is a flip side to that, and that is sometimes the people that are guilty aren't held to what you would consider like the full standard of justice or receive the full measure of justice because um sometimes the people that are less involved get off scot free because they're used to bring a case against those that are most involved. So frustrating sometimes. um Thanks to everybody that was active in the chat. I had a good time chatting with you. Let's see what else we got here. Talked about weekend plans. Talked about how some of the Max Tyler, the voice actor for Max Tyler, was also in another radio program. I'm trying to find that one. I should have flagged it so I can do this more easily. Oh, he was the lead character in the episode in the radio program This Is Your FBI. I don't have any of that content on YouTube, but I do have a podcast on that one. So if you go to otrgold.com, you can get the link to that. You could also I'm sure other people have uploaded it to YouTube if you want to just search for it on YouTube. But if you want it in sequential order and every episode available, you can look there. People sharing what awesome things they found at some yard sales or garage sales. Good place to pick up old cassettes. As I mentioned too, the 2 sets that I found are on eBay. To heals 3 times. Okay. While I was there was something I forgot to mention at the beginning too. Joshua asked if my wife was getting into old time radio. So she wasn't exposed to it like growing up, but then as I have it on, as I'm listening to episodes like ahead of live streams, which I try to do as often as possible, it doesn't happen every time. But if I'm playing it around other people, they'll get kind of hooked on the story and they're curious at how it ends. Even my younger kids, like my oldest is 7, and I'll play it and she's listening, and then if I turn it off or go into a different room, like ask me, like, "Wait, what's going on?" Like, how does that end? So that's what's interesting, I think, about old time radio is I think maybe because of the phrase old time radio, people are like, "Nah, I'm not interested in that." I'm not interested in that old timey stuff. But if they're exposed to it, the stories are very interesting. Like the stories I think still hold up. There's obviously some things like the cigarette commercials or maybe how they refer to certain people that stick out. But yeah, as Joshua says, good storytelling crosses generations, so I'm trying to think of ways to make this more relevant, not more relevant, but more appealing to younger people to then give it a shot. Because I think, yeah, once they give it a chance, they'll find that there's lots of stuff to like. If they like mysteries, if they like westerns, if they like uh, dramas, film adaptations, etc. So found that interesting. The we'll just touch on 2 other things before we drop. I mentioned there's a phrase where the chief of detectives tells Friday that um he he was basically saying to Friday, "You're not the only person this Max Tyler has tricked. And the phrase he said is, he's also buffaloed the prison officials. And I hadn't heard that. I think he's using the word buffalo in as like he tricked them or he pulled the wool over their eyes or something. But I heard the first time I heard buffalo was like as a verb to bully, meaning to bully. And it made me think of this phrase right here that if you haven't looked at it yet, you should maybe consider. You could just read through this Wikipedia article. It's pretty funny, but there is a grammatically correct sentence in English. It is buffalo, 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 which sounds like I'm speaking nonsense. And in reality, I likely am. You'd never say it this way, but this is using all different versions of, well, several different versions of the same word. So you've got the city of Buffalo, the animal buffalo. This is again the city, and then there's like the verb to bully. So, um, so this is like I'll help you interpret this. I'll do my best part. Um, Animals from Buffalo that other animals from Buffalo bully. Bully other animals from Buffalo. So you can maybe have some fun sharing this phrase with other people and just watch the utter confusion on their face as they either think you're speaking gibberish or try to understand what you're saying. But someone even put together this diagram, which I think is maybe not as helpful, but give it a shot. And then the other thing, let me show you this one. Go back to here so I can share the other screen. I was looking at the history of Fatima cigarettes, which, don't smoke, but I also like history. So here's what they were talking about. Here's like the branding of the thing. Launched in the 1870s. The name Fatima is a common Turkish or Arab woman's name. Help bolster the Turkish image. But then it says right here, in the 1940s, before 1950, the package design included a stylized image of a veiled Middle Eastern woman. So I think that's what we're seeing here. But then over time, the brand's old-fashioned image caused it to lose market share from the mid-1950s onward. So we're hearing all these radio announcements. And again, this latest episode was broadcast in January 1950s. This is very early on. They're still talking about how quickly the brand is catching on, how they're selling more and more. Well, as looking back, they're about to reach their peak. And then over time, they're going to die out until they're completely phased out in the 1980s. But that's one of the things I like about old time radio is just picking up on like the context of what life was like during that period, and then going down a Wikipedia rabbit hole to learn more about how they lived. And then also I'll share one, since we're on Wikipedia right here, a very fun game, if you've not played it, is sit down with somebody else. You each think of a topic without telling the person. I call this the Wikipedia game. And then at the same time, so you pull it up on your phone, you maybe pull up the Fatima cigarette page and someone else pulls up something on like osmosis or whatever the topic is that they thought of. You then tell the other person what Wikipedia page you're looking at, and then you have to navigate to that page only clicking on hyperlinks. So it's like topic association. So if someone said osmosis, oh dang, well that's probably some scientific process. So then I have to go super general and then start diving down super specific. And it's very surprising It's always surprising to me how quickly you can get between two what would appear to be completely unrelated Wikipedia pages, how few steps there are between them. It's like the 6 degrees of separation or 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon if you played that game, but you're doing it on Wikipedia via hyperlinks. So, if you have time to kill and look for something to do this weekend, try playing the Wikipedia game, and then tell me on Monday what you think of it. Great. Let me check these comments here, highlight any relevant ones before we drop today. Weak Max and weak Dorothy. Poor kids. Yeah, exactly. The kids suffered in that one the most. I mean, you feel somewhat bad for the other two, but they're living with the result, the outcome of their own decisions, whereas the kids are punished for the decisions of their parents, which is unfortunate. Um, people talking about when they listen to that. Oh, The Halls of Ivy, another radio program, is a comedy. I have heard of that radio program, but I haven't heard any episodes, so that's news to me as well. Both Sam and I learned something today. Joshua says, no charges for Dorothy. That's because she clicked her heels 3 times and went back to Kansas. My kids love listening to The Wizard of Oz when they go to bed at night. I listened for the first time to an episode of Gunsmoke and was absolutely stunned. Marcio, yeah, it's a good show. Hopefully you're listening on our 24/7 streams. I saw we had almost 80 people. Well, we had over 80 people on some of them, but nearly all of them a couple days ago had close to 80 people, and it was awesome to see. So thank you all for tuning in. People talking about the benefits of audio content. It's a more flexible way to consume media. I agree. Like, I love popping it in and then doing something else, and just you can multitask more so than watching a movie and doing something else. People sharing their love. Trait of Sin says, I prefer OTR more than TV itself. Joshua, I like listening to time capsules, but I'm old fashioned. I'm into old fashioned things by nature. I think I have an old soul as well. I like the mid-century feel, and I know old time radio is a little it's 1930s, 1940s as well. But any of that era is fun for me. But then I also, to balance things out, I love tech. I love like the cutting edge, playing with things. So, maybe the two together put me somewhere in the 1990s in terms of, that's where I average out my favorite era, which makes sense because that's where I grew up in the 90s. Let's see here. I got somewhat into OTR a few years back, but didn't even pay attention to Gunsmoke because I thought it was much too popular to be good, but I was wrong. Yeah. Sometimes there's wisdom in crowds. I think people are surprised by Gunsmoke a lot. As a fan of country music, though, I knew it was going to be great. Not that there's country music in it, but I feel like people have this stereotype of what country music is, and then they listen to it and like, oh, it's not. They're not always talking about losing your truck, losing your dog, losing your wife. So if you're not a fan of if you have preconceptions about country music and you haven't listened to it yet, go listen to that over the weekend and tell me what you think. Let's see here. Oh. What struck me most is that the 1940s, 1950s is not the squeaky clean era that is sometimes portrayed to be. Some of the crimes being committed in these episodes feel very modern. I just saw a video about that very phenomenon. Maybe our YouTube algorithm is the same because I was recommended a video that was on the same topic, and yeah, it's true. It's easy to look back. I think over time, Well, here's my theory, and I'm not a philosopher. I am just a dude. But my theory is we've evolved to like not to be happy. I think you have to like focus on the good. And everyone goes through difficult things or as a society we do, but if we focus on those things continually, then it'll like bring us down. So over time, we tend to just reflect on all the good, which is, a good thing, but then also it may be you then start thinking about periods and they're kind of put on a pedestal or it's thought as like the ideal, but when you were living through it, there was those good things that you remember about it, but then you know, there's there were not great things as well. Um, that's my thought. Let's see. I'm not reading these ahead of time. I'm just putting them up here and then I'm going to read them. Arch Obler had ads for Lights Out of some kind of vitamin pill that was the size of a horse pill when I researched it. Oh, yeah. You want to go see if those vitamins are still available and you see they're like the size of horse pills? That's funny. Talking about the Gunsmoke game, a guy made a video of the entirety of Wikipedia and the connections between different types of articles and how a few times it takes to get from one article to another. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, you can prove it to yourself by playing the Wikipedia game. Yeah, I see sometimes I respond to comments on the 24/7 streams, but people are asleep by then. Yeah, I try to jump in several times a day to each one to respond to comments. And I realize, there's some time between them. So if I don't respond right away, I do read them. I do see them all. I'm just uh, jumping in when I have some downtime. You can go there. I envy you multitaskers. If I do something else while listening, I simply lose too much of the story. That happens to me sometimes, but then I just jump back a few seconds and catch it. You're from Brazil. English not your native language. Thank you for tuning in from Brazil. What part of Brazil are you from? My brother lived in the capital city for 2 years in Brasilia. I also I lived in Argentina for 2 years. But I was in Resistencia, the northeastern part of the country, up by the up by the 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 Iguazu waterfalls there for a little bit. I never actually went to go see them, but I'm down from that same area, and I know there's a little bit of tension between Argentina and Brazil, primarily over soccer, but I think we can bond over our shared love of old time radio. And if I ever make it down that area, let's meet up. Let's go to the waterfalls. You should make an AI chatbot of yourself to monitor live streams. So I was talking to a friend of mine who works at Facebook, and they recently released an AI, and he gave me a brilliant idea, which I will related to AI chatbots, not to impersonate myself, but for another reason. And that's one of the ideas I have cooking right now. I got to work on that, and then when I have something to reveal, I will do it. But it will be sweet. If I can execute on the idea, it will be awesome. So, Marcio, I don't know how you say that first city because I don't speak Portuguese. I can speak Spanish, but I'll run it by my brother so he can tell me how to pronounce it. But you say it's near Brasilia, which is cool. Well, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. And that extends to all of you. Thank you all for being here. We stayed a little bit over. It's a long stream, but I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the interaction. Wish you all a great weekend and hope to see you back here on Monday for our next episode, which is well, the very next episode is going to be oh, it's not helping me out here. Oh, the next episode is actually a two-parter. And it's the first episode that starts with the big blank format. So on Monday, we're going to listen to episode 33. It's The Big Man, Narcotics, and it's part 1 of 2. So stay tuned. Have a good one. Thank you all for being here. See you on Monday.